There is a specific kind of confidence that cannot be purchased or engineered or marketed into existence. It has to be earned. Over decades. Through cultural moments and street credibility, and the kind of presence that makes people stop talking mid-sentence when the car rolls past. The Chrysler 300C has always possessed that confidence, not borrowed from a European bloodline, not manufactured through a racing heritage, but grown organically from American streets, American ambition, and an unwillingness to apologize for wanting something bold. And here at Premium Automotive Reviews, where we ask what cars genuinely mean to the people who drive them and the culture that surrounds them, we have been waiting for this particular moment for a very long time. This is the 2027 Chrysler 300C. And before we go any further, there is one decision Chrysler made about this car's rear suspension geometry, a choice that breaks from every large American sedan that has come before it. That fundamentally changes how this car behaves when you ask something serious of it. We will get there. But first, stand beside it and simply absorb what is in front of you. Gloss black. Not the flat, anonymous black that gets applied to cars to make them look aggressive without commitment. This is a deep, multi-layer obsidian finish that reflects the world around it like a mirror, shifting from charcoal to pure black depending on the light, the angle, the time of day. The 300C's body proportions have always communicated authority. The long hood, the upright greenhouse, the wide rear haunches. And in this next generation interpretation, those proportions have been sharpened and lowered and stretched in ways that make the original look like a draft. The chrome lattice grille up front is massive and unapologetic. The Chrysler winged badge centered at its peak. The LED headlight signatures flanking it with a precision that gives the front end the expression of something that has already decided it is the most important thing in the room. The carbon fiber front splitter reaches forward from beneath that grille with serious aerodynamic intent. The side profile is clean and muscular, no unnecessary surfacing, no decorative lines, just long, smooth flanks that carry the 300C badge, and nothing else because nothing else is needed. Chrome multi-spoke wheels, 22 inches, polished to a mirror finish, fill the arches completely with Brembo red brake calipers, visible through the spokes like a deliberate warning. The carbon fiber rear diffuser frames 4 round exhaust outlets that sit in pairs, and from directly behind, this car looks exactly like what it is. A large American performance sedan that has decided the era of compromise is over. Open the rear door first. Because the 300C has always been a car about more than the driver, and what is inside that rear cabin tells you something important about what Chrysler intended. The cognac orange leather that covers every surface, seats, door cards, headliner, pillars, is saturated and warm, the kind of color that transforms available light into something amber and intimate. Carbon fiber fold-out tray tables deploy from each rear seatback, finished in a satin weave that contrasts the leather beautifully. A rear seat touchscreen console manages climate, entertainment, and connectivity for the passengers with the same interface simplicity as the front. The panoramic roof floods the cabin with natural light that the cognac interior absorbs and warms. Sitting in the rear of this car, with those tray tables deployed and the world sealed outside by acoustic glass and active noise cancellation, is one of the most genuinely composed automotive environments available at any price point. But this car was not built only for passengers. Drop into the driver's seat, and the atmosphere shifts. The front cabin is still cognac leather throughout. Diamond quilted across the seat surfaces, smooth across the dashboard, the Chrysler winged badge embossed into each headrest. The steering wheel is thick-rimmed, wrapped in perforated leather, and sits at an angle that immediately feels correct. The central touchscreen displays HEMI in crisp typography at startup, a declaration rather than a label, before resolving into a navigation and performance interface that is clear, fast, and intuitive without demanding attention. The instrument cluster is fully digital, configurable, and in sport mode, reorganizes itself around a large central tachometer that takes up most of the display. The cabin scent is leather and something faintly mineral, expensive without announcing it. At idle with the windows up, the ambient sound is close to absolute silence. The 300C seals itself against the world with a completeness that would be impressive in a car costing twice as much. Now, The suspension decision. Chrysler's chassis engineers made a choice with the 300C's rear multi-link setup that drew significant internal debate. Rather than tuning the rear suspension for the traditional large sedan priority, ride comfort and straight-line stability, they calibrated it specifically to reduce body roll and improve rear axle compliance under cornering load. The result is a car that handles with a composure that its size and weight profile simply should not allow. The controversy is real. Some within the program argued that 300C buyers do not buy this car to corner, they buy it to cruise. The counter-argument was that a car with this much power needed a chassis that could use it with dignity in the real world. Both arguments were valid. The engineers chose dignity. And having driven it on roads where that decision is tested, they were right. The powertrain is a 6.4-liter naturally aspirated HEMI V8, internally projected to produce approximately 510 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque, driving the rear wheels through an 8-speed automatic transmission. No forced induction, no hybrid assistance. The decision to keep the 300C naturally aspirated in the C trim is about character. The 6.4 HEMI has a specific sound profile, a specific throttle response, a specific personality that supercharging or electrification would fundamentally alter. It pulls with a breadth and authority that feels appropriate to a car of this size and purpose. Linear, effortless, deeply convincing. Press the starter. The HEMI catches with a deep, resonant bark that settles into an idle with a low, authoritative pulse. Not aggressive, not theatrical, just unmistakably present. The exhaust note at idle is a controlled rumble that you feel as much as hear, transmitted through the seat and the floor in a frequency that communicates mass and mechanical integrity. Pull away in comfort mode, and the transmission moves with unhurried smoothness, the throttle responding with a linearity that feels natural rather than programmed. Road texture arrives filtered through those revised rear dampers. You are aware of the surface without being punished by it. Switch to sport. The exhaust opens, the dampers firm, the throttle map sharpens, and open the HEMI fully on a clear stretch of road, and the sound that fills the cabin, even through the acoustic insulation, is a full, layered, naturally aspirated American V8 roar that builds cleanly through the rev range without a single harsh note. There is no supercharger whine, no turbo spool, nothing artificial layered over the engine's natural voice. It sounds exactly like what it is. And at high RPM, with the exhaust fully open and the 8-speed holding a gear through a corner, it sounds like something that the Europeans have spent decades trying to replicate and cannot. Each upshift at full throttle carries a crisp mechanical report through the paddles that you feel in the rim. 0 to 60 is internally projected at 4.4 seconds. In a car this size, carrying this much interior space and this much acoustic refinement, that number represents a genuine engineering achievement. The brakes, those Brembo units behind the chrome wheels, are immediate and progressive. The steering, electrically assisted but calibrated for weight and feedback rather than lightness, communicates front axle loading with more honesty than most large sedans consider necessary. And the chassis, shaped by that controversial rear suspension decision, manages body motion with a composure that reframes what a large American sedan can be asked to do. There is a practical limitation worth noting honestly. The 300C's low ride height, essential to its visual and dynamic character, reduces ground clearance meaningfully below the previous generation. Urban speed bumps require attention. The lowered stance is the visual cost of the chassis improvement, and it is worth paying, but it is real. Chrysler expects the 2027 300C to reach market at approximately $75,000 in standard configuration, with fully equipped examples approaching $95,000. In a segment where German luxury sedans command significant premiums for engineering heritage and badge prestige, the 300C offers something they cannot: cultural weight, American identity, a driving character that is entirely its own, and an interior that at this price point genuinely competes with vehicles costing $30,000 more. What you are buying is not simply transportation or even performance. You are buying a statement. A piece of American automotive culture that has consistently refused to be anything other than exactly what it is. The 2027 Chrysler 300C is not a luxury sedan that happens to be powerful. It is not a muscle car that happens to be comfortable. It is its own category entirely, the definitive American full-size performance sedan, and nothing produced anywhere in the world occupies that space the way this car does. This car was built for the person who moves through the world with a specific kind of self-possession. Someone who appreciates refinement without requiring European provenance to validate it. Someone who understands that presence is not about volume, it is about certainty. Someone who has sat in the back of enough cars to recognize when a rear cabin has been designed with genuine intention rather than afterthought. Someone who believes that American luxury, done correctly, needs no apology and no comparison. Put this car on the Pacific Coast Highway at dusk, top of the city behind you, ocean ahead, the HEMI settling into its quietest cruise mode while that cognac interior glows amber in the failing light. That is where this car is spiritually at home. That is the drive it was engineered for in every meaningful sense. Before we close, a question we genuinely want your answer on in the comments. Should the 300C have pushed further into performance territory with forced induction and a higher horsepower target? Or does the naturally aspirated HEMI character and its specific sound and feel define what the 300C should always be? Both positions are completely defensible. Tell us which side you are on and subscribe to premium automotive reviews if you believe that some cars carry cultural meaning that specifications alone can never capture. The 2027 Chrysler 300C does not ask for your respect. It simply arrives, and the respect follows on its own.